Welcome to the Everyone's a Critic 1993 podcast. I'm professional film critic Sean Patrick. With me is Amy Kay.
Hi.
And MJ.
I'm an ostrich.
Find us on Facebook at Everyone's a Critic. I'm not sure what this is about. Is that a reference to something? Wasn't in this movie.
I think what MJ's trying to say is, I don't want to say anything. I just want to put my head
In the sand.
in the sand.
Yeah. Yeah.
I kind of acted like that throughout this film today.
Like an
Just
ostrich?
wanted to put your head in the sand.
Yeah, or in a vice. Just keep cranking away.
Like an Evil Dead.
Like an Evil Dead. Just like an
He
Evil Dead
takes his
2.
girlfriend's head
Yep.
and she sticks it in the and chainsaws it until she's gone.
I want to thank you for letting us watch that last night.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, to me, it's like that was really nice. And
Yeah.
then it's like you gave me a gift, but then you took it away today. Is what I feel like you did.
I didn't make this movie.
You didn't? I thought you did.
Yeah. The movie in question is Boiling Point, starring Wesley Snipes and
That requires some explanation, doesn't it?
Donald Trump. Yes. Simmering Point.
We're going to watch Who's the Man, and then we're watching Who's the Man. I was like, we really want to talk about Who's the Man. There's nothing really there to talk about.
No, because already the soundtrack was already kick-ass,
yeah.
but it's like, yeah, I don't think that this is the movie we need to be discussing.
So I was like, let's switch to Boiling Point. And nobody corrected me.
Yeah, because no one else thought of it but you.
No.
I was like, I think the other movie is Boiling Point.
Turns out we were wrong.
Yeah, the other movie was actually Indian Summer or This Boy's Life.
Yeah.
Those were the other options.
They probably were really good compared to Boiling Point.
Anything is good compared to Boiling Point.
Yeah, that's true.
No.
But you've never seen Ishtar.
Is Boiling Point worse than Hexed?
I mean, in a way, yes.
Yeah, because it was, like I put it, nails on a chalkboard.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
And Hex didn't make any sense, but the fact that it didn't make any sense was kind of funny.
Kind of funny.
Yeah.
This was not funny.
Not laughing with the movie, laughing at
Yes.
Hexed.
There was a
'cause-
chance to laugh at the movie.
Yeah.
There was no chance to laugh at this movie.
Right. This was not an enjoyable experience for any of us.
Boiling Point, 1993, starring Wesley Snipes and Dennis Hopper. Directed by James B. Harris, who is not particularly well known. For reasons, I'm sure.
I don't want to ever hear about him at all.
Based
ever
on a
again.
book by a guy named Gerald Pietrovich.
Because it's true. It's a true story.
Pichevich.
Why?
Who
How
also
the
apparently
fuck would I know?
also apparently responsible for To Live and Die in L.A., which is a really good movie.
That is a really good movie.
Even has a character the Jonathan Banks character in this movie is actually also in that movie.
Poor Jonathan Banks. I mean, back in '93, poor Jonathan Banks, because he had a much better career later on. But this was appalling. And again,
MJ, you want to give us the plot of Boiling Point?
oh, I hope you wrote it
The
down.
plot. It's
Plot point.
it doesn't have one.
No.
It's
I think you're putting MJ on the spot. Why don't you just read from
watched
IMDb?
the movie, right?
yes.
Yeah, but that's
I
the thing. You kept dying throughout
Saw
it, though,
a
too.
movie. I did keep dying throughout this movie. There was detectives.
Yeah.
There was criminals.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There was, for some reason, romance with prostitutes.
There was, yeah.
And there was money scheme
Of some
of
kind.
sorts. Yeah.
A pair of sociopath killers take on the police and the mob in order to make one last big score
No, they
in
don't.
Boiling Point.
No, they don't. This is like watching Coronation Street, you guys. If you're familiar with British soap operas, that's what this movie was akin to when it started. I didn't understand anything. I don't know where it's going, and I probably won't want to watch it again.
Are we sure we weren't watching it in Spanish?
I know! Like, at least that, we might actually enjoy it.
Oh my god.
Even Wesley Snipes, who has charisma.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, he has the acting chops.
I guess I'll try and explain this as best I can. So what happened is that James Harris and Dennis Hopper wanted to make a movie together. And they made a movie that was centered on the Dennis Hopper character. Like, the entirety of the movie was about his, trying to reconcile with his ex and trying to get square with the mob and using this kid, played by Viggo Mortensen, to kind of, make his moves and cover up for his shortcomings. And along the way, he was going to, meet women and fall in love. And it was supposed to be about this guy who's just kind of in a desperate situation, trying to get out of it with the mob and the cops on him. Then Wesley Snipes became a big time movie star, and the studio went, "Hey, that Wesley Snipes guy is a big time movie star now.
So they took it.
Maybe make the movie about him instead." So they had to take a finished film and beef up Wesley Snipes' scenes and cut back on the Dennis Hopper scenes.
Oh my god.
Okay, I see where this went wrong now.
Now, see, I want to see the making of that movie as a movie. Because I think that'd be more interesting, don't you?
It's far more interesting.
Oh, man. And the thing about Wesley Snipes' character is there's nothing interesting about him.
Not even a remote little thing. Yeah, he's an asshole. He's like, he has no purpose,
Nope.
no point. He doesn't care about what's happening.
Nope.
He's barely aware of what's happening. Like,
Oh my god.
it's most of the movie before he ever even interacts with Dennis Hopper's character. Like, you can actually tell now, and when you know that information, you can look back at a scene where he sees Lolita Davidovich getting out of a car with Dennis Hopper and realize they added that.
Wow.
To try and put them into the same movie universe, they kept inserting Wesley Snipes. Like, Wesley Snipes has a meeting at the same hotel that Dennis Hopper is meeting with the mob upstairs, and it's so you could just assume they're in the same movie together.
That is a
otherwise,
more interesting movie.
Otherwise, yeah, you don't even realize that, they didn't have scenes where Dennis Hopper and Wesley Snipes were interacting until, the cops bust, the whole thing. Until the big cop bust.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
And it looks like a puzzle when you put it back together that way. When you start taking it apart in your mind, and suddenly you're seeing all these scenes with these characters who don't interact with other characters. Did you notice Seymour Castle plays a character in this movie who's a criminal who has scenes with Wesley Snipes? He's got this girlfriend apparently, but Seymour Castle never actually interacts with that girlfriend, because that scene they went back and added the girlfriend and the explosion.
Oh my god. That makes this movie way more interesting, doesn't it?
Yeah. So Wesley Snipes is a federal agent investigating money, fake money, money laundering. No, not money laundering. What is it called when you have fake money?
Copperfit.
Counterfeit. There it is.
Copperfit.
Counterfeit money. He's investigating counterfeit.
That's for plumbing.
Doesn't matter.
He's investigating counterfeit money.
Yeah.
Dennis Hopper deals in counterfeit money, and he's using this counterfeit money to try and make real money somehow. I'm not sure exactly how the counterfeiting works into it in some way. It certainly does somehow. He's also pining for his girlfriend, Valerie Perrine, who left him after he went to prison.
Wow.
So their backstory, and they tell this backstory. We don't see the backstory. They just tell us that, when they were young, he forced her into sex work.
Yeah.
Becoming a prostitute. And then he went to prison, and she got out of that life and became a waitress at a diner, and he finds her again as a waitress in the diner and says now he's ashamed that she's working as a waitress.
Yeah. You got me into this, dick.
You kind of screwed my entire life. And then she goes, okay, we'll have sex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of these people in the beginning of this movie all end up saying yes to, like, the most deplorable people.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, all right, yeah.
All right, sounds
sure.
cool, yeah.
Yeah, whatever, let's go.
I think that they felt the malaise of the film, and they were just like, yeah, fuck it, let's do whatever we can to sauce it up.
So Dennis Hopper is
saucy.
like fresh out of prison, I guess, and looks to make a big score. He's got Viggo Mortensen as his apprentice criminal, who he's working with.
MJ's like, I want that job. Apprentice
They set up
criminal.
a deal at a hotel where Wesley Snipes and Dan Hedaya are the cops who are monitoring this drug deal. Did you notice, though, once again, Hopper or Wesley Snipes and Viggo Mortensen and Dennis Hopper do not interact. Like, they're in entirely different locations the entire time.
Wow.
I'm starting to wonder, was Wesley Snipes ever actually in this movie to begin with?
Wow. I don't think he ever was.
And I wouldn't think that the part about him having a girlfriend and a kid, I don't think that would be in the original movie either, because
No.
it doesn't make much sense to have him have a backstory like that. It would just make sense to just throw him in there.
So Wesley Snipes
cop.
is a federal agent. He's investigating this counterfeiting thing. One of his guys gets killed by Viggo Mortensen, and he becomes obsessed with the case, although you wouldn't tell that
You wouldn't know.
based on the performance that he has any kind of really care about this whatsoever.
Well, the person, Musso, gets shot, and you're like, I don't care.
Who's Musso?
Who the fuck is Musso?
I don't know, but it's the motivating factor for...
He even like when he meets up with Lolita Davidovich in that bar, and he's just like, they killed Musso, and it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
stakes are high. Fuck.
And he delivers this message like he goes to talk to his wife, and he wants to see his son just to look at him while he sleeps.
Yeah. Turns
Well,
a fucking light on you, dick.
Normal thing to do. You just go visit you just go in the middle of the night after your best friend Musso has been killed. You knock on the door of your wife's apartment and wake her up and tell her new husband to leave.
Yeah. Because I'm staying all night.
And then
Got any wine?
then you go into your child's room who is sleeping and you turn on the light and you sit there.
And stare at him.
A child who loves Coltrane, apparently.
Loves Coltrane.
Loves Coltrane.
So there's like the weirdest jazz records up on this 6-year-old kid's bedroom wall.
Nothing the kids in dinosaur PJs love more.
They love Coltrane. and some good hash as well.
So he forces his wife to hang out with him.
Yeah.
And
Mama. I know, I understand. He's annoying. Move. Poor thing.
I've won. His little victory march.
And mate, move. All right, ready.
He goes to his wife's house. He forces his way inside, essentially, by guilting her with the death of Musso, who she apparently knows.
We all do.
Everybody knows Musso.
Yeah.
As ubiquitous as Jurgen Prochnow, really.
Musso was played by Jurgen Prochnow. That's why everybody
I
keeps
knew
talking about it in the entire movie.
I knew
Okay.
it. Now that would
That-
make the movie more interesting.
That's the only reason.
Yeah,
that
but
we
you only
would
get one
care about
scene.
Musso. Yeah.
Yeah.
I need more than one scene of
You
Jurgen.
barely recognize him in the full beard and the head and
the
the
cowboy
long hair.
belt buckle.
Yeah.
The size of his fucking head.
Did it as a favor to Wesley Snipes.
Oh my god.
That's why everybody spends the rest of the movie motivated by and talking about Musso.
Because Jurgen's performance was that important.
But the studio cut him out of it,
Yeah.
I think that was their biggest mistake.
Truly. So he and his wife just share a couple glasses of wine.
Yeah. I mean, while we're here,
I guess.
Just talk over
Yeah.
some wine.
And he's basically telling her, I'm not leaving.
Yeah, like we're gonna fuck. Is basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know your husband is still hanging around. Your new husband is hanging around somewhere. Boyfriend, whatever he is.
Your son's new dad.
It's what you see later in the movie.
Basically, I mean,
And that other guy was so much taller than him.
was.
Like,
he was. And like poor Wesley's just like, well,
Oh, Here's my dick.
Yep, here. You keep it. You keep it.
You've taken my masculinity from me by marrying a much larger black man than me. Touche. I'm going to go have sex with Lolita Davidovich.
Well, that's how it always ends. In every 90s movie, really. Ask anyone.
Lolita Davidovich is in this movie as a sex worker. She works at the hotel where the mob also lives in the penthouse.
Yeah. Yeah.
She meets Dennis Hopper. He chases her down. And he wants to like hire her, but not for sex. He hires her so they can go dancing in a 1940s nightclub.
Yeah.
How old is this character supposed to be? Is he in his 70s at this point?
Yeah, yes.
Because he's romanticizing, apparently, his teenage years in the 1940s.
I mean, you were in Easy Rider, dude. I think we know how old you are.
So the character is apparently in his 70s.
Dennis Hopper.
I'm not sure how old Dennis Hopper was. Maybe he was in the 70s. I don't know.
You know what? I'm guessing just because of how we look now,
Yeah.
he's probably in his 40s. I'll look it up. Hang on.
He takes Lolita Davidovich dancing, and then she goes back to the hotel, and not having had sex with Dennis Hopper, she has sex with Wesley Snipes, because apparently they just know each other. They just show up in a scene together. She just comes in and talks about how crazy this John was, who just wanted to take her dancing instead of fucking. He just wanted to pay me to dance with him. What a weirdo. Let's go have sex. Was she charging Wesley Snipes?
We still don't really know because they were talking like they were old friends.
Yeah.
Like
she
they
knew
talked
Musso.
all the time.
But everybody knew Musso.
Everybody
Yeah,
knew
everybody
Musso,
knew
though.
Musso.
I knew Musso. Like, it's a great loss, this entire movie.
Everyone in town was upset about it.
Wow.
So, they have sex. He falls asleep while she's telling a story, as we fall asleep while she's telling a story. She's giving us the entirety of Dennis Hopper's backstory in that scene, by the way, which is so, like, we so don't care. Like, she's just talking about how sad he is. She just goes on about how sad he is as Wesley Snipes is falling a fucking sleep.
That was at the point where MJ got out the potato chips and dip, and I couldn't hear anything because I was crunching so much. It's kind of like a little utopia in my head, where I could just see lips moving, but there's so much dip.
I think I would have rather watched a Lay's commercial.
Yeah. On repeat. Or just listen to somebody else chew for an hour.
She's just going on about how sad he is, about his youth and the woman he loves leaving him. Which, yeah, she did, because you were an abusive person who pushed her into sex work.
Yeah.
That might explain why.
I mean, other than that, he's a good guy.
Other than that, he was such a sweetheart.
He
just wants to go
give me
dance.
the jacket off his back, I'm
He was a
telling you.
mentor.
He's a mentor. He was a
He
fucking
loved
mentor.
to dance. He's a mentor. He's just a mensch.
He's got Trump hair and Trump suits. He even sounds like Trump at a point, and you're just like, God, turn this fucking shit off. Make it stop. I didn't sleep at all last night, so I'm a little bit hazy today.
Mm.
But this movie, like MJ even said it, I think this is a great idea. I'm just going to buy it
Yeah.
and then sleep to it. Like the Calm app.
Yes.
I mean, because there's only a few gunshots, and I don't think that's going to do anything. I think I'm just going to fall asleep like a
No.
good Bob Ross painting.
Really wasn't a big gunshot.
No.
This is like it's supposed to be like, because if you know who Wesley Snipes is, like, and we knew Wesley Snipes, like,
Yeah.
he's an action hero, he's got charisma,
Yep.
he's got speed, he's
badass.
sleek, he's awesome,
Yeah.
Wesley Snipes.
Yeah.
And then you're watching Boiling Point, and the opening of this movie is this long helicopter shot of Los Angeles set to this 1940s big band slow jam.
that they keep using like 4 times in this film.
Throughout the
It was just like last week's where they bookended it. They bookended the movie with the same song. It's like, what the fuck, 1993? Put some money on a soundtrack.
That's a new one for the bingo card.
Right, exactly.
Movies that begin and end with the same song and the same visual.
Guys, we have to make a bingo card. This
We
one
do.
just proved it. Proved it.
I'll print some off for next week.
Perfect.
Need to find a way to laminate them.
Oh, well. We'll just,
Wait, you
we'll
don't
just
have
get
a
those
laminator?
chips.
Oh,
We just keep reusing them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to
fine.
talk about lamination. But
This movie was laminated, I
Oh
tell
my
you.
only a bit of moisture. Thank you, Dan Hedaya. Second week for Dan Hedaya, which
Yeah,
was really
we're on
nice.
a Dan Hedaya streak. I wonder if he's in next week's movie.
Ah.
I have to take a look. So Viggo Mortensen's character is
God,
supposed
you
to be
really
like
paid attention to this movie. I'm just shocked.
he's supposed to be like a psychopath, I guess, or they're both sociopaths, but like he's the one who's willing to kill people. Dennis Hopper doesn't want to kill anybody.
No, he just wants money.
He just wants to get the. He just wants to change the money over.
Get
Let
the
me
bag.
change the money over. I
Yep.
got the money. I got the fake money. I'll give you the fake money. You give me the real money. You see?
Is that Dennis Hopper?
I think so.
That was terrible.
That was pretty good.
Okay, go ahead.
I don't understand the counterfeiting thing. Like when you give somebody real money for counterfeit money, and like they give you a bunch more counterfeit money for the real money. Is that how it works? And then you take the counterfeit money and you just spend it like actual money.
Pretty much.
I guess, yeah. So you just kind of hope you get lucky.
What-
Like, that's
but
like gambling.
if you've made the counterfeit money, why don't you just spend the counterfeit money? Why would you give your counterfeit $100,000 for somebody else's real $50,000?
I think it's just a way to keep themselves safe and let other people take the gamble.
You know, once I was managing a bar, and a lady came in early in the morning, and she wanted a Pepsi, but all she had was a $100 bill, and I thought, it's all right, I'll take that. And so I looked at it, and I'm just, looks like a $100 bill, put it away, give her a change, she takes her pop, she leaves. The owner calls me up and says, hey, Aim, I don't know about you, but I've never heard of the United States Bank of Hollywood. Yeah. So that's what they do, They take them around and then they get all their, it's the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to me in my life. Good Christ.
I don't, but I'm still like, I still don't understand how it works. Like, what is the scam, though? Like,
if this movie were better, we might be clearer on it.
You know what? Yeah, if it had an actual purpose.
Yeah, show us what they do with it, print it, give us a montage.
Yeah.
A money montage.
yeah.
A money montage.
Yeah, make it make sense.
And then play money
the
over
actual creation of money that isn't actual U.S. tender is the crime of counterfeiting.
Right.
But how do you benefit from counterfeiting in the way that they're doing it in this movie? Because they seem to be trading counterfeit money for real money throughout the entire movie. That seems to be the intention that they have.
Yeah.
They're trading paper.
Trading paper.
I got your paper. You got paper? I got paper.
Oh my God.
Oh man, they gave us paper. That's like the scam that Paul Gleason's character pulls. Is like he papered him.
Oh my God, poor Paul Gleason.
It's his head blown off by
His head
Viggo.
blown off. And all
In the
he
most
wanted-
exciting sequence in the movie.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's like the only thing that happens in this movie.
Well, between that and then the end when Viggo Mortensen gets shot.
Yeah.
At least there was some blood.
That was the simmering point.
Simmering point. Which I think is about the heat that we got from this film was right about there, and that was it.
Which I can also explain at the very least. One of the bingo cards we have is when they drop the title.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
when there's a title drop. Obviously, there was never a chance for there to be a title drop in this movie because Boiling Point was never intended to be the title of this movie.
Are you serious?
They changed the name to Boiling Point from Money Men, which would actually is a more sensible title.
Money Men is.
The whole
'Cause it's
they
about
changed
money.
the whole premise and made a 5-year-old make it.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I want this scene in here. This one right here.
5-year-old with ADHD.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
it.
wait. We need to do that. Put that in there. We got a movie.
I would rather watch that movie, actually. About the 5-year-old ADHD kid who made a movie.
Yes.
About counterfeiting.
Oh my
Now,
God.
see, that, I'd pay for that. I would definitely pay
That
for
sounds
that.
like a great movie.
It would be.
Yeah.
A great movie.
This movie was supposed to end on top of the penthouse after immediately after the mob shooting. So Dennis Hopper and Viggo Mortensen go to rob the mob because Dennis Hopper can't pay back the debt that he owes the mob. For whatever reason, he owes a debt to the mob.
Right.
And they end up just shooting the mobsters, just killing them both, and it's like no consequences for that. And it was supposed to end with Viggo Mortensen going up to the rooftop and then Wesley Snipes throwing him off the rooftop. That was supposed to be one of the endings, and then Dennis Hopper gets away to go off with his girl.
Oh. Well, that would be great.
Actually, I think that would have made more sense because I thought they were both going upstairs, but then all of a sudden they were downstairs.
Yeah. Just
Yeah,
all of a sudden, Dennis Hopper's in the basement, and we don't even know where Viggo Mortensen's character went.
Yeah. And he said something about a roof.
Yeah.
Both of them said something about a roof, and then they did not go to the roof. Any of them.
Oh my God, you're right.
So,
Like, again, I think
what happened to the roof? Maybe they forgot to take that out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's a lot of things they forgot, you know?
Well, when you're trying to assemble a movie,
Yeah, the editor was a spaz in this thing. Because that's fucked up.
no, I feel bad for the editor. The editor, had a completed film. Like, here you go. Now add this to it. Here's a bunch of scenes that we just reshot. I want you to cut everything around Wesley Snipes' part and make it bigger.
Just giving you, really old 70s shag carpet remnants to put on your hardwood floor. Dirty, pissed-on carpet. There you go. I'll take it.
And you can see elements of the Moody's 70s crime movie that Dennis Hopper and the director were making.
Right.
You can see what they're going for, this kind of Cassavetes sort of style of movie. Low lifes and drug people and all that stuff. You can see that movie, and then this 90s Wesley Snipes cop movie is just layered in over the top of it.
Wow, like frosting on it.
To go back to your carpet analogy, so you're just rolling out the linoleum on top of a hardwood floor,
It's true. That's so true. It's like you just slather on a bit of Wesley Snipes and see where it goes.
I do believe Wesley was the cop in the movie, but then White Men Can't Jump came out and made him this, and then I think there was one more that came out before this that made him one of the biggest stars going, and they're like, we've got Wesley Snipes in this movie, let's make sure we Wesley Snipes this up a little bit.
I feel like they had, 2 different scripts. They could have just taken one of the scripts and made another film with it. Over here. On that side. Because over here is Boiling Point. And over there is another movie that could have been really fucking good.
Could have been something.
It
could have been something.
We could have had it all over there.
Or at least it might have been funny.
75% on Rotten Tomatoes, I'd take it.
So he was in New Jack City, following up on his role in Mo Better Blues.
Yep.
He was also in Jungle Fever, which was not necessarily, but it was high profile in terms of the way it talked about.
Right.
The way it was talked about. Jungle Fever is a movie by Spike Lee, which you cannot see anymore. Mm-hmm. It is no longer available for whatever reason. And it's about a interracial relationship between Wesley Snipes and his Annabella Sciorra.
Yep.
And for some reason, people find this terribly controversial, I guess because it's called Jungle Fever, because that's the racist terminology that people used to describe when a white woman dated a black man.
Yep.
Is that she has jungle fever.
I still can get that Stevie Wonder song in my head.
It's a great song, though,
I
isn't
got
it?
jungle fever. Yes.
But sing that, though, and think about then what you're singing.
Oh, shit. Look, I was 15 when that came out. I wasn't giving any thought. I was just like, this is a kick-ass
If you're wondering
soundtrack.
why this movie isn't available anymore,
that would be why.
that might be why. I think even Spike Lee goes, that's kind of racist.
Yeah. Regardless,
But
yeah, Wesley Snipes was really having a day. Having
Yeah,
a
he went
minute
on from there to
during all
White
this.
Men Can't Jump,
Yeah.
and then Passenger 57, and then this.
Passenger 57.
But this is an outlier because, like I said, I think they made this when he wasn't Wesley Snipes, big time superstar,
Sure.
and then
And they just kind of sewed it
then
in.
they're like, wait a minute, Wesley Snipes, call Wesley, give him back up a truck full of money
Yes.
to Wesley's door.
Dump it on his front
It's going to be
lawn.
much more marketable if we have him and like make people think he's the star of this Dennis Hopper movie.
Oh my god. But you know, I mean, and if I were Dennis Hopper, I'd be kind of pissed about
Right?
that, you know? But like 2 years later he gets Speed. And he's a pretty badass bad guy in Speed.
Is-
So
yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Yeah, but at least with Speed, like, you were always interested in everything that was happening in this movie.
Yeah.
I couldn't look away when I was watching Speed.
Yeah.
Speed 2, I took a nap during, obviously.
I think there's the seeds of, like, I keep mentioning the Cassavetes thing. I think the seeds of a really interesting, like, criminal character piece are there.
Agreed.
Like, there are elements there. Like, there's a complicated relationship between him and Valerie Perrine that can be mined for a lot of things. There's a father-son dynamic between him and Viggo Mortensen that could play out in a very ugly way.
Right.
Tony LaBianco and Jonathan Banks, like, each have characters to play here. You've also got the subplot with Christine Elise, which apparently got completely cut out of the movie.
That's okay.
Viggo Mortensen shows up at her apartment. He's just out of prison as well. That's how he does Hopper mean.
Right.
Shows up at her apartment and, like, wants to, have sex with her. And she's like, no, you're a criminal. Get the fuck out of my apartment.
Right.
So he just walks over, punches her in the face, and that's how the movie starts. Now,
Yeah.
he's a bad guy. So, I mean, these are bad guy things.
They do
Yeah.
end up having sex, though, so please don't worry.
Yes, the bullying sociopathic asshole got what he wanted.
Yeah, I mean, I
in the
didn't
end.
want anyone to think that he didn't come away with anything.
She then disappears from the movie, and apparently she was supposed to have a slightly bigger role to play, because she's used later on as like she
bag
just appears
person?
for
Yeah.
a moment to deliver fake money in a scene where Paul Gleason gets his head blown off.
Yeah.
Paul Gleason, by the way, he's Paul Gleason by the time they make this movie,
Right.
but his character is literally named on IMDb Transaction Man,
Now, see, I would pay to see that movie.
which would be a better title for Boiling Point.
But change
Transaction
it
Man.
to where he's a banker. You know? And his
He's a
superpower
superpowered
is
banker.
making transactions.
Really
yeah?
quickly. You can calculate change in his head really
Now,
fast.
see, that's the fan fiction I should be writing right there.
He's the guy who came up with that idea to make a bank that's just for change.
Just for change. Straight up just for change. Transaction Man!
Superhero movie.
I'm telling you, not all...
You
Not all heroes wear capes.
You can find Amy's Transaction Man fan fiction on our website,
That's
which
right.
is pinned to Amy's pinned to a tree outside Amy's house.
I'll find it. Because that's how it works.
What did you think of the acting?
Oh, I'm glad we got here. You?
Again, it's
I
about
don't know about the acting.
it's about managing expectations. When you're like when you
Why are you being responsible about this film? Managing expectations. Fuck you. It's 1993. We had 3 expectations. Sweaty people, sex stings, and you're good and broke now. That's
Only
it.
one of them actually came true.
Right?
Only one.
when you're promising like a thriller starring Wesley Snipes, you start thinking of like Passenger 57, or you start thinking of like an action movie where like there's going to be shootouts and explosions and that
Really
kind of
cool,
stuff.
like one-liners after
Yeah.
they kill someone. Yeah, yeah.
And then when you're marketing a movie that's supposed to be like 70s Cassavetes, you have to add like where you're layering and depth of character. That's how you market that movie in a completely different way.
Right.
The boiling point that we were marketed it, and I think, and the expectation we set for you is that this is going to be an action film.
Right. There was little to no.
You had no expectations of this whatsoever.
You never do when you go into these films.
No, I'm
though.
just like, what is going to happen this time?
Will I walk away hating myself again? Will I need another shower? How do you feel about that now? Do you need another shower?
Probably.
Yeah.
I'm still stuck on what you guys were talking about. The girl that came to deliver the money.
Oh, Christina Lisa's character, yeah.
Okay, why did she come to deliver the money?
Yeah.
And where did she go after it? Like, she wasn't in the car next to him.
Well, that's the whole point, was that she had a bigger role. They just chopped it up. So we had no
she was in a
fucking
different
clue.
car.
Why did they leave her in there?
Exactly. It was totally needless.
Why didn't they
Needless.
reshoot that whole scene? Because it wouldn't make any
You
sense.
could cut
to have
out
her
that
in there
first,
anyway.
her introduction.
Yep.
Like, at one point, Dennis Hopper says to Viggo Mortensen early on, go see that broad you were seeing or something. And you could just do that off screen.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
don't even need to introduce Christina Lise.
Yeah, you could just see him walking out of a hotel zipping his pants up.
And yes, for the bagman thing, why didn't they just have Hopper do that himself?
That's
like, why
true.
wasn't he the one who just walked over and delivered the money? Or, just have somebody that he pulls from the bar and says, hey, can you deliver the money? For Lolita Davidovich.
Yeah.
Make her important. Like, she witnessed a murder, now she's in the plot.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, it was weird. I in the beginning of the film, when I noticed all the people in the credits, I'm like, that's way too many people.
Yeah, there's like Tobin Bell shows up.
Yeah,
In this movie.
Killer Bees, man. Yeah.
Jigsaw.
He's not Jigsaw.
He is Jigsaw.
Killer Bees from Overnight Delivery.
Nobody knows that. Nobody knows what you're talking about when you say that.
I think if you're a Paul Rudd fan, you do know that. He's Killer Bees, you guys. Don't forget it.
He's Jigsaw.
No,
Tobin Bell
no one
is
even
Jigsaw.
knows what Saw is. Get out of here with that shit. Killer Bees.
When are we going to see Paul Rudd?
In '93, if you turn on your TV, you're going to watch Sisters.
Oh, okay.
And he's going to do that.
We're still like a year or so away from him being on.
Yeah, well, because he had Friday the 13th, part Sadness, which was probably his worst acting role ever. And I think that's '94. So, I don't think we're going to see him in '93 because he does a made-for-television movie about a girl who got stalked. I have that on DVD, by the way.
And you don't own a DVD player, so that says a lot about
That's
that
true.
movie.
Well, and I also have Runaway Daughters, which was also out this year, and made-for-TV movie. So, Julie Bowen, and that was a terrible movie too. Paul didn't have good luck in the early '90s, except for Sisters.
Yeah.
He had long hair on there. God, he was hot. We can just keep talking about him if you want. I mean,
I'd enjoy that more than the movie.
Oh.
let's get out my DVDs and we'll just look at them. We can't play them, but let's just look at them.
Yeah.
Oh, look at him.
They're all in great shape. Yeah, the acting. Okay, I mean, as far as the acting went for me,
For the people, if the movie that they're making versus the movie that was actually put out, I think is probably pretty good.
it's
The acting is
okay.
probably pretty good. When you're watching this movie and you're not like, everybody just feels tired. Everybody just looks
Yeah.
sleepy now.
And you know what? Again, sorry, Jonathan Banks. That's just your face. And I love him so much anyway, but that is just his face. But with Dennis Hopper, again, charisma. He's got so much of it.
Yeah.
But in this film, he looked almost dead behind the eyes. Like I didn't feel anything about his character. I didn't like his character. I didn't care. And he looked like he didn't really care either. So
He's going for muted, and we know Dennis Hopper kind of is a crazy eyes. Like,
yeah.
he plays at one point in his career, MJ. He plays King Koopa in the original Super Mario Brothers movie.
Yep. That's right. Just keep that in mind.
Yeah. Why don't you pull up a picture and show them that nightmare fuel? That is.
I am so sick of the Luigi Bowser fan fiction.
Oh.
Luigi in a wedding dress, which again I'm cool with, but
What?
not in the sense that it's Luigi and Bowser. I just feel like that's
Tumblr,
weird.
are you okay? Are you okay, Tumblr?
Tumblr needs some help. Somebody needs
Tumblr
to
is not
put
okay.
down for a nap.
It's both trauma and therapy at the same time.
That's true. That's why I follow a lot of food blogs and a lot of pictures of sad girls from the 70s. I love those pictures. I don't know why. Because I feel like I was one.
Yeah.
Sad girls in the 70s. That could be another band name.
I see. That would be a great KTEL compilation. Sad girls in the 70s.
King Koopa from Mario Brothers.
See, his hair looks so much better there, too.
It's something.
Aw, Dennis. I mean, again, he's a fantastic actor.
Yeah.
And this film did not showcase that. Well, even for Wesley, I was bored.
Yeah.
And that's weird. So, there was not a person in this film that could have saved it for me. It just, no one turned in a performance that said, gee, this was great. This was delightful.
You can tell, like, Lolita Davidovich was, like, really invested in this character, because I think she thinks at some point she's got a lot to do here.
Yeah.
And I think with the way that they rearranged the movie, I'm betting she got cut out a lot of this.
Yeah.
I think the whole her and Wesley Snipes relationship kind of is, like, put into the movie, like, really randomly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, Wesley needs to fuck in this movie.
Well, I'm just going to say, like,
what we got laying
fucking.
around?
They're just fucking. And that's cool.
Just, like, pick from it. That one. Let's do that one. All right.
We've already established in the first movie that we made that he's divorced and like his girlfriend, his wife is with somebody else, so he can't fuck her.
Right.
So who can he fuck?
Let's take the girl from this
What
movie.
about if we back up a large amount of a truck with a large amount of money to Lolita Davidovich and bring her back for these reshoots?
I mean, I feel bad for her. She's had to kiss some really creepy-looking guys over the years. But at least with Wesley, it's like, hey, I can finally get to sleep with a hottie, but then you just end up talking his fucking ear off, so it's like, that wasn't sexy. I expect sexy and sweaty in my 90s films.
You know, one of the things that's on the bingo card that definitely got ticked off in this is misogyny.
Yeah.
Oh!
Yep.
So true.
A lot of hatred for women in this movie.
You know...
Although, I mean, good for Wesley. You know, at the very least, I can say that both Dennis and Wesley, their characters were like, I don't care if you're a sex worker. Well,
Right.
that's forward thinking.
That's very forward thinking. I love that.
That's great.
Yeah.
But you got the Christina Lee's character, you've got Wesley's first interaction with his ex-wife.
Right.
They're just really, really shitty.
Serious
Like the whole
disrespect.
backstory of Valerie Perrine and Dennis Hopper's character is seriously fucked up.
So fucked up.
Like,
I mean, from what I remember. I feel like I blacked out a little bit
I
during
feel
this.
like I did too.
You melted twice.
I melted.
Right into the floor. And that's okay. Like, at one point, MJ got into the car, and I'm like, yep, I understand.
you thought
Drove away.
You thought they were leaving, yeah.
Yeah, I was just like, all right, well, I mean, I get it. Don't ever feel bad about that. And then you came back, it's like, wow, you are a hero.
The fortitude it must take.
Fortitude, indeed.
Not only to sit through this movie, but then have to talk about it.
I got scared because Sean brought up the movie we were supposed to watch. He put it up on the screen for a second, and I'm like, I can't do this again. Like, what we just watched, I need to get that out, and I need to move on, you know? I need to expel it from my body.
Yeah, I was just looking to see if Indian Summer was available, and it is.
It is.
For free.
So if you want to go on and watch it, you can go on, and then you can just call one of us at 1-800-CALL one of us,
Yeah.
and we will listen to your review of
And
Indian
it goes
Summer.
to a random one of us. It just picks.
We don't even, like, sometimes it could be my dog that answers, and he'd listen. For about
We had
5 minutes.
we had good intentions. We were going to watch Who's the Man.
Yeah,
And then realized, like, partway through that movie, like, there's nothing to talk about here.
there's nothing to talk about here.
There's nothing to talk about with
Soundtrack
this
kicks
movie.
ass. I love everybody in it. Yeah, it's like, no, we need something that at least, and even like with a good action film, you can still find elements that you can make fun of.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we were kind of hoping for here. But
I was hoping, like, this is going to be like one of those hidden gem action movies,
yeah.
you know?
And it wasn't. It was an out there gem that was really dirty and pissed on.
And not really a gem.
Not really a gem,
No.
turns out. It's just a rock.
It's one of those fool's
Really?
gold.
It's fool's gold.
It was just a rock. This movie.
I
Right
got
on
a
the DVD
rock.
cover.
Right, it's just a rock.
It's just a rock. This movie rocks? No.
No,
It's just a rock.
It's
like
rock.
gravel.
It's like a block of cement.
Singular piece of gravel.
Pissed on piece of gravel. I don't know. I mean, you know, you asked the question, which would be worse, Hexed or this film? And I think that there's an element to Hexed
Yeah.
that actually was watchable.
Well, because we had such a good time
Riffing it.
Yeah, watching
Yeah.
it and talking about how terrible it is.
But like this, it's like I really did want to get out my phone and just play a game.
Yeah,
I've often said that, yeah, in the modern era, they're like making movies that are like just the worst thing you can be, like, is competent to me. Like, if your movie is just competent.
Yeah.
This movie's not competent, per se, because the studio sort of ruined the opportunity for this movie to be
true.
competent. Yeah. But this movie is boring.
Yeah.
And that's really far worse than being bad. Like, you know, The Opposite Sex and How to Live with Them is a bad movie.
Yeah.
But it's not boring. I wouldn't call it boring.
No.
You know?
Because it's fun to be infuriated at it.
Body of Evidence is awful.
Yeah.
It's just awful, but it is not boring.
No, for fucking not.
It entertains
Yeah.
people, even if not in the way it intended to.
Right. Like, give me a moist Willem Dafoe having sex on top of a car, on top of a light bulb that was broken, any fucking day over
Not
this film.
boring.
Yeah, not boring.
Not boring.
Not boring at all.
This was boring.
This was boring.
This was very boring.
This was like going to church on Sunday boring.
Yeah.
You know? When your pastor just, like, says things
Okay.
to put you to sleep.
That is one thing I would prefer this movie to. Is
You'd go to church?
No, I'd watch this movie over church.
Okay. I think that's fair.
One thing
Yeah.
that this movie is better than church.
That's, yeah.
On the tier list.
Catholic church, by the way.
Catholic
Yeah.
church.
Has to be Catholic church, that
And
long
it's
ass
gotta
mass.
be like a couple
Yeah.
higher than it with some blank
Yeah.
spaces in
Yep.
between.
Yep. I agree. Yeah, but again, at that point, we'd be able to sleep through it, so it wouldn't matter. You know, it's
That's
like this, we
true.
had to watch it.
Yeah, because we had to talk about it.
Right.
Yeah.
But if we
could've
sleep through it, then it's like it's a nap. It's the call map.
Unless we had to do like a thing on a mass, like we had to like write a paper or something,
Oh.
or like
No.
Roger Ebert and Gene Siskel each had. They didn't talk about. Neither of them reviewed this movie that I'm aware of, but they have metrics that they talk about when they're talking about bad movies. And one of them, I think it was Gene said, or no, it was Roger's. Roger's one was that this movie does not improve upon the sight of a blank screen viewed for the same amount of time.
Well said.
That's why he's the patron saint.
Wow.
Gene's thing, and I think this one applies even more to this movie, is this movie as interesting as watching a documentary of the same actors having lunch together?
that sounds more interesting.
That brings up our point where it's like, you know that the blooper reel sucked on this movie.
Yes.
Because nobody was having
Nobody
fun.
was having fun, you know?
You flub a line and nobody laughs. And
No,
it's
it's
like,
like,
fuck.
Go again.
Okay, just
Take 34.
Jonathan, just keep going.
Just keep going.
Just keep going.
Don't even worry about it. Don't even worry.
That is our new metric right there. Would it have a good blooper reel?
Yes, and if it would, it's a good movie.
Like
If
Body
it
of Evidence might have a good blooper reel.
It might.
You know what I mean? He slips his dick into her anus instead. Oops. Not there, silly. Knocking at the back door, buddy.
Can I get a different cum rag?
Now, see, those are the bloopers we want to see. I'd like to see.
Next week we need to try to find bloopers.
Yeah,
Like,
of all the
watch.
movies we've watched.
Yes.
Yes, because Leprechaun had some good ones.
Oh,
No, Leprechaun did.
Leprechaun is a blooper.
It is.
It is.
But
But better than this movie.
Indecent
Yes.
Proposal, I bet, had some decent bloopers.
Well, the best blooper reels you can see that the actors were enjoying themselves.
Well,
you know?
exactly.
Yes.
Like, there's a lot of great movies out there where you can sense that the Evil Dead movies. We were talking about Evil Dead last night.
We watched Evil Dead
Army
2
of Darkness.
last night.
Like, you can sense in those movies that everybody was having such a great time doing this.
Absolutely.
That just radiates off the screen that
Yeah.
they're having the best time doing this. Nobody in this movie feels like they're having the best time.
No.
Lolita Davidovich seems to be having fun.
Well, I know, but she gets paid to smile, you know? Give me the right amount of money, I'd do the same thing.
She wasn't smiling at the premiere when she walked in and saw, why am I not in the movie
Why,
now?
yeah.
What happened to the parts of the movie that I was in where I helped explore the Dennis Hopper character? Now I just dump a bunch of fucking exposition about him and fuck Wesley Snipes. Like, what the hell?
To me, yeah, looking back on my...
You know what's weird? Just to
Career.
circle back to the movie for
Yeah.
a moment. You know what's weird is that at that point she's describing the man that he's going to end up arresting for the main crime of the film, and he has no idea that that's who she's talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, so I didn't get that.
But it's the whole time. People, they're just like near missing each other.
Yeah.
And it's not funny or
Near
entertaining
Or
at
commented
all.
upon in any way.
No. It's a near miss. Like those romance movies.
Ah. You know, I bet Untamed Heart had good bloopers. Don't you think?
Yes.
We've got sliding doors at home.
Sliding. Fucking sliding doors. Great reference.
Thank you. Sliding doors is a...
Don't worry, we'll get to 97. We'll see.
Are you curious about next week at all?
I was, but now I feel like we're a week behind. So do we have to do another?
No, God, no.
Okay,
we're
thank
not.
you.
We're not gonna.
I don't want to do an Indian Summer.
I'm considering Indian Summer a dodged bullet.
Okay.
I mean, Mike Binder directed it, for fuck's sake. Just no.
No.
No, the options for next week, and we're not going to... I've already made the choice, but the options were Bound by Honor, starring Benjamin Bratt, The Night We Never Met, starring Annabella Sciorra and Matthew Broderick, which is about three people sharing an apartment, but they never see each other. But then Matthew Broderick and Annabella Sciorra manage to fall in love, sharing each other's notes and learning about each other via seeing their stuff in the apartment, but they never see each other.
So that's like that Keanu Reeves, Sandra Bullock movie.
The Lake House?
Yeah.
It's like the lake apartment.
It's a lake apartment. Yeah. Cool.
Splitting Heirs with Eric Idle and Rick Moranis and
Fantastic.
Barbara Hershey. Really?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's got great moments in it.
Really?
Yeah,
no.
but we're not watching it.
Not watching that. No, we're going to watch Three of Hearts.
Oh.
Do you know the premise of Three of Hearts?
Just know this. It stars one of the lesser Baldwins.
Not the one who just got off of a crime.
Yeah. It's like, they're moving around in there. Right there. So,
All right,
Billy
so-
Baldwin.
It involves a love triangle. A straight gigolo named Joe. His best friend, his lesbian best friend,
Sure.
Connie, and her former lover, Ellen. Connie is desperate to win Ellen back, and Joe volunteers to break Ellen's heart to convince her that heterosexual relationships are inferior to lesbian ones. Which is something we I think we all already know.
Yeah. Learned that in church.
But neither counts on Joe having feelings for both of them.
Oh, no!
Oh,
What a
man.
zany setup.
Directed by the incredibly well-known and beloved director Jurek Bojegovic.
One of Jurgen's friends. I
They play golf.
think. They play golf.
Yeah, that's
Jurgen co-produced this film, didn't he? Executive produced this film. Jurgen. Well, I think this movie, A, sounds awful, and 2, can't wait to see it. Because I think it's going to be light years better than this film.
So much better. I really think it will be.
man.
Yep.
I'm getting my hopes up. Because they can't get any worse.
Because this was so boring.
Yeah.
I mean,
Something
you said that your soul was sucked out by a Dementor in this.
it was.
And I think you're right.
I need a nap now.
I know, I'm very
I
tired.
always need a nap, but it's like more.
I'm very, very tired.
So do you recommend that people see Boiling Point?
Absolutely. But just remember, it's not called boiling point. It's simmering point. Because you just leave it on simmer.
Mild heat.
Mild, tepid point. Lukewarm, room temperature point. That's where we're at. Enjoy room temperature point.
Just have a glass of tepid water.
And stare at it for 96 minutes. And that's your movie.
That's your movie.